Hey guys, I'm going to solve 1724 as I did in a previous problem, except instead of using the weighted average method, I'm going to use the Fifo method. The Fifo method has three major changes. The first major change is that these lines right here are inserted into the worksheet to differentiate between the units that were from the beginning inventory and the ones that were started and completed this period, and then the ones that were in the ending inventory. The second major change is we're using a different set of formulas. And then the third major change is here in the costs. These numbers are not used, they are omitted in order to calculate the cost per EUP down here. So I will walk through this problem, talk about the changes from the weighted average method, solve the problem again, and hopefully provide some clarity between how to do a weighted average production cost report and a FIFO method production cost report. So let's get started by just putting in the physical units. Those are given 100 and 510. No changes there. Auto sum. Okay, now there is a change here. We had to insert two lines here to distinguish between what was from the beginning inventory, what was started and completed this period, and then what was in the ending inventory. And you'll notice, because we inserted these lines here, we also had to insert them down here. So what was from the beginning inventory, that's up there, 100. Okay, we know the total has to be 610. That's the same as well. Started and completed, ending work in process, given right here, ending work in process 160. So this has to equal the difference of this and these two numbers. Okay, and that's 350. Now, that's the first major change. The second major change is how we calculate our EUP formula. In the weighted average method, we didn't use this top number right here. We just used these two numbers. But now we're going to use this top number, and the way we use this top number is I put the degree of completion for the beginning inventory up here, 80%, 35%, up at the top. And I'll use the top formula to calculate those numbers. And I use the degree of completion for the ending inventory. I put that down at the bottom. And we're going to use the bottom formula. And then for that middle number right here, we're just going to carry that across. So once again, the top number uses the top formula, bottom number uses the bottom formula, and this one's carried across. So let's do that. This equals the number multiplied times 1 minus the percentage. And this equals the number multiplied by 1 minus the percentage. Okay? This is simply the number carried across, 350, 350. And this uses the bottom formula for the bottom numbers, equals the number multiplied times the percentage. And this equals the number multiplied by the percentage. Okay, then we just auto sum these and auto sum these. Okay, that's the second major change. The last major change is these numbers are omitted when computing this cost per EUP. So I'm going to put them in there first, as we did originally. Then I'm going to omit them when we do the calculation. So this is beginning work in process inventory, 459,888. and then conversion cost 142,570. Okay. Then started in production 3,237,000 and 1916000. Okay. So because we're omitting these, this is just going to equal this, and this is just going to equal this. Okay. Okay. So these numbers are here. Divide by total EUP. So total EUP here is 498. Total EUP here is 479. Okay. Now we're going to calculate this cost per EUP, but we're going to omit these numbers. They're omitted from the total here. So we'll just, this equals this divided by this. This equals this divided by this. Now, just one last time to emphasize in the weighted average method, this total would have been these two numbers combined, added together, but we've omitted that. We've omitted this specifically because this is a FIFO problem, and so that's why these numbers are calculated differently. So we've omitted these. Now we're simply going to take this number and carry it down here. I don't remember exactly why the professor explained that in class. I don't have it in my notes. I just know in my notes this number was omitted up here, and it was just simply carried down here. So I'm just going to put this is equal to this. Okay. Now the rest of the problem is solved the same way as the weighted average method. So to get this number, you take the cost per EUP and multiply it by the EUP in the beginning inventory up here. Same thing here, cost per EUP multiplied by EUP started and completed. And this is it, cost per EUP multiplied by the EUP in the ending WIP inventory. And this is equal to those numbers added together. Here we do the same thing using these EUP numbers, total EUP cost per EUP multiplied by the EUP in the beginning inventory. Cost per EUP multiplied by the cost in the started and completed. And this is cost per EUP multiplied by ending inventory. That's auto sum. These are carried over. This is carried over. This is carried over. And this is equal to those numbers. So let me just quickly glance down at my notes and make sure I calculated everything correctly. That's correct. This is not correct. This, oh, pardon me, that is correct. 1916000, and this is 3237000. So these two numbers are correct. This is correct. This number would equal this number, but I've omitted it. This number equals this number, and this number is equal to this number. So okay, so those are the major changes when you do the FIFO method. Once again, just quickly reviewing, the first major change is you add these two lines here and here. The second major change is you use a different formula using these percentages for the top number in this formula, carry across for the middle number, and then used the bottom formula using the bottom percentages. And the third major change is you omit these two numbers when calculating the cost per EUP, and then you just simply carry that number down to the bottom of the worksheet to calculate the total cost accounted for. So I hope this helps, and good luck on your test.